Welcome to the New Life Baptist Academy online tutorial library. This is the voice of Christopher Nader. This tutorial is called Getting Started in Excel. Excel is an incredibly powerful and remarkably easy program that helps you manage columns and rows of data. Columns and rows of data are often called a spreadsheet, and we're going to make one right now. First thing we're going to do is in the upper right hand corner click our red X to get rid of this billboard. Then we're going to call up an Excel spreadsheet, a blank one. So if you happen to have a blank Excel document on your desktop, as I do, simply click on it, double click on it, and it'll come up with a blank spreadsheet. Every spreadsheet in Excel has the rows across the top named as A, B, C letters to designate the columns underneath them. And then down the left-hand axis, it has numbers, 1 through several thousand, which number the rows. So the columns go up and down, and the rows go left and right. You can always tell what cell you're in by clicking on it. In this case, we are in the cell that is B7, and you can see that in the upper left-hand corner of the spreadsheet in the name box. That tells you the designation of the cell you're in. Okay, so let's start putting in some data. And let's put in some books of the Bible. So let's start by putting our cursor in cell A1 like this, and let's type in some well-known books of the Bible. Let's start with, say, Genesis, and then go down and put in Exodus, and go down and put in Psalms, go down and put in Proverbs, and I misspelled Proverbs. I don't have a P in it. So if I click on the cell, I can go up to the formula bar, find it, put my cursor behind the P, do a backspace, cap P, and I've corrected it. Then I put the cursor below that, and I'm ready to keep going. Now let's put some books of the New Testament in. Say Matthew, go down, Mark, go down, Luke, go down, John, and say Revelation. Now let's put in say the number of let's put in whether or not they're in the Old Testament or the New Testament. That way we can see how to do a shortcut. So we know that Genesis is in the Old Testament. Now we know Exodus is in the Old Testament too. We could just type in old again. But another way to do it would be to put our cursor below what we want to copy down and hold down the control key and the quote sign, which is also called the ditto sign. Hit it once and it copies to the next line down what was above it. Another way is to put the cursor in the cell you want to copy, right click, copy, put it in the line below it, click and paste, right click, paste, and it puts it in there. Let me show you another way that's also fast. I'll demonstrate it on Matthew, which is in the New Testament. You can simply grab one cell and keep the left mouse click button down and select the next field down. Let up and then hit Control D for down, and it copies what was above it. And you can do this several cells at a time. For example, I'm going to go into this cell, hold down the left mouse button, select all of these rows, release the buttons, hold down the control key, hit down, and it copies it to all of them. That will really speed up your data entry when you have duplicate data. Now let's put in how many chapters there are in each of these books. I happen to know there are 50 chapters in Genesis, there are 40 chapters in Exodus, 150 in Psalms, and there's 31 in Proverbs. Matthew has 28 chapters. Mark has 16. Luke has 24, John has 21, and Revelation has 22. Now at this point, we might start forgetting what our columns are. So a good way to do this is, as soon as you know that you like how the data is looking, go up to here, put your cursor on the number 1, left click to select that entire row. Then right click once and hit insert, the 5th one down. That puts all the data down one row and allows you to type in here your column headings. So this is going to be a book name. This is going to be which testament. And this was number of chapters. Alright, so we'd like to now make our, I misspelled testament. Now I might have misspelled other things. So why don't we go up here to the column or the row above 1 and the column to the left of A. It's called the Select All box. Click once and it now selects the entire spreadsheet. Then let's go into the Review tab, click once, and go to the Spelling tab. Click, and it's already told us testament is misspelled, and it suggests the correct spelling. So I'll take it. I hit change, and it's already checked all the other cells, and none of the other ones are misspelled, so we hit OK. Thank you for checking, Excel. Now what we'd like to do is make this prettier. So maybe let's make, say, this row. Let's go back to the Home tab. Let's make this row all bold and make it, say, all italic and make it centered. These are the same commands we learned in Word. And now let's make all the rest of this book face not bold. So we're going to go to the 2, left click, drag down to select all the rest of the data, and then make it not italic and make it not bold. So far so good. Now just like you did in Word, you can select cells. I'm going to select this one, slide to the right, and this one, and I'm going to put a yellow background behind it, a yellow fill color. That's starting to look pretty nice. Now I say, well, this is good, but I'd like to see this spreadsheet with the books of the Bible alphabetized. Okay. I go to the 2, left click, drag down to Revelation, let up on all the buttons, and then go to my Data tab, click once, my Sort icon, click once, and it asks me what column I want to sort by. In this case, I want to sort by column A, and I want to sort on the values, and I want to go A to Z, starting with the letters that are the first letters that are near the front of the alphabet. So I hit OK, and watch what happens to those book names when I hit OK. It instantly changes them to be alphabetical. And note that it kept the other data glued to it. Exodus is still in the Old Testament with 40 chapters. Matthew is still in the New Testament with 28 chapters, for example. So that's how you sort alphabetically. Let's say that we wanted to say, show me this data arrayed by shortest book first, going down to the longest number of chapters. Okay, we go back to our 2, left click, select all the data that we want to sort, go up to sort, click once on sort. This time we want to pick column C, and we want to make it smallest to largest. When I hit OK, watch what happens. It puts Mark first because it has the shortest number fewest number of chapters, 16, and it puts Psalms at the bottom because it has the most at 150. Now you can also change columns. You can, for example, put your cursor in the C field, left click to select that entire column, right click, and cut it. Now it hasn't gone away yet, and it won't go away until you've given it a good spot for you to paste it. Let's put it to the left of B. So to do that, we put our cursor to B, right click, insert. That's going to push the which testament it's in to the right to make room for the number of chapters. Watch how this goes. Pretty nice. So now we say, but you know, what I'd really like to do is array these by which testament they're in first, and then I'd like to, within each book, each testament, I'd like to alphabetize the books. So I want to do both of those commands at the same time. So the first thing I do is go back to my old friend 2, click left, slide down, and I'm telling Excel these are the cells I want to sort. Go up to sort, and this time I'm going to do 2 sorts at one time. So I'm going to do what's called add a level. What that enables me to do is to say the first thing I want to do is sort by column C. That's which testament it's in. And since I'd like to have the Old Testament books come before the New, I better sort this Z to A. And then I say after that, within each testament, then I'd like you to sort by book name, which is column A. In this case, I'd like it to be A to Z, so I put the it's a standard alphabetizing. Now when I hit OK, watch what happens. Click on OK, and number 1, it put all the Old Testament books first. To make this easier to see, I might go to column 6, right click, and insert a line to make the spreadsheet look make it even easier to read. So here are my 4 books of the Old Testament, and they are within the Old Testament sorted alphabetically: Exodus, Genesis, Proverbs, Psalms, etc. And then in the New Testament books, my 5 are once again alphabetized, all in one stroke of my sort. This is why Excel is so powerful. I'll tip my hand and say, what if we wanted to add up all the number of chapters that are in these 9 books? Well, we could put our cursor in this cell and hit the equal sign and say to Excel, I would like you to make this cell equal to the sum, open parenthesis, of this one, 40, and I'm holding down my left mouse button and sliding down and then letting up. So now I've told Excel I want it to be the sum of all of those cells. I don't have to close the parenthesis, although I could by just doing close parenthesis. And then I hit enter and watch what happens. It summed all of these numbers, 40, 50, 31, 150, etc., and put the sum in this cell. Now that cell is formatted as flush left, so let's select it, go up to Home tab, find the Alignment tab of Center, click once, and now it's centered. So we might also put a field name here called, say, total number of chapters. And it'd be nice to maybe have that be right, flush right. And it'd be nice to have that whole thing be bold. So I select it and then hit bold, and it makes it nice. So that concludes our first shot at learning how to do an Excel document. Not all that complicated, not all that difficult, and very powerful. Thanks for watching. Happy learning.